Alright, so now we're going to divide this surface and we are going to place a pattern piece on this. Initially what we talked about doing was shading this seat for some time, and maybe now we want to place a surface, a division on this and make a repeatable pattern out of it. It's pretty easy to do in Revit. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the show reference plane for right now, and I'm going to select this surface. And if you select any surface in Revit, you can go up here and divide that surface. So I'm going to click on divide. And you're going to see that it comes in and by default divides it into 12 by 12. I don't really want it to be 12 by 12. I want it to be a distance. So let's say 1 foot by 1 foot. So up here in the status bar, I'm going to select, instead of number, distance. And I'm going to say 1 for 1 foot. And then I'll do the same thing here. So we have a 1 foot by 1 foot distance. We could select this one and we could divide that surface as well, and then we could either set it at 1, or maybe I just do 1 division there and just let it divide that into 12. Okay, so we get a little bit of a different division on that one than we do on that one. Now in this file I've actually given you a couple of different families that will work with this square pattern. So the first one we're going to use is the flap. Alright, so I'm going to select this divided surface, and you're going to notice that when I select it, it gives me in the properties dialog box no pattern. If I go to the pull down and I scroll down, you're going to see that under the rectangle pattern I've loaded these families. So I'm just going to pick this flap. Alright, so I'm going to pick that flap. And you're going to see that it's going to come in and place this flap onto that surface. Okay, basically what it does is there are 4 adaptive points on these flaps, and they find the corners of that surface, of that division of that surface. So if I were to pick this and place the same pattern on it, right, you're going to see that it places that same pattern, but it stretches it out and conforms to that division. Alright, so basically this is just a flap that has one corner lifted, or in this case it's actually going down. So let me show you what that guy looks like. I'm going to hit tab until I get a single selection, and then right click on that. Ugh. Went off of my single selection. Tab, right click, edit family, and it's going to open up that family. So basically what that family is 4 lines connected that create a surface, and then I have a height parameter set on this line that controls how high this corner goes. So I can come in and control how high that is. This one's set to 3 inches, but I have one that I've set, if I hit apply, to much taller, to 2 feet. I could add a new family, could name it flap 3, and I can set it to 1 foot and apply. Okay, so now basically if you think of this as a window, I have one piece of geometry that's allowing me to make 3 different models and save those models. And if I load this into that project, overwrite the existing version, I've now loaded that version 3 in here. So I could pick those, come to this pull down and see there's version 3, and I could load that flap into there. So now that flap is fanning out. I could select this one and I could load the flap 2, right, which is the 2 foot flap, and now you see that occurring. Now you can also see that it's changing the shading for better or for worse, right? So if I pick this, go to the pull down and pick flap, the shorter one, right? That's closing up and creating a little bit more shading that way. So you can kind of come in and start to play with these guys. So let's go back to our other flap 2. Right, and you're getting a little more shading this way, so it's kind of interesting. There's a couple of other things you can do, like you could come in and say, well, I kind of want this one to have 12 divisions this way. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can pick that. And I can't remember if it was the U or the W, but let's just go to number. So that's going that way. So let's do distance there, and let's do number of 12 there. Right, so now those are all similarly sized that way. We could also come in and maybe, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do like a 2 foot. Right, and now those are the same size as those in a different manner. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can select these and just take a look at all the options that you have other than the division. So for example, there's like a component flip, so I can flip that. So it'll flip it, now it's flipped up, right? Okay. I could mirror it. There's a component mirror, right? So now it'll flip it the other way. So there's lots of different ways to control these various pieces, and we'll talk more about that later, but start to give some thought to what you want to shade, why you want to shade it, and some other options that you're interested in.